Thank you for joining the Asheville Rise Stronger Together podcast. This is your host, Jessica Knupp with the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for our Women Who Lead Building Community Through Business series. Today we're here with Holly Fisher with Fisher Creative Marketing, and we're so glad to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jessica.
Yeah, we're excited. I can remember like when you moved here, like you got involved with the chamber, very smart. And, we're so glad to have you in our community, but also you're one of our ambassadors, and we just really appreciate everything that you do for our organization as well. So I just wanted to.
Oh,
to
thank
let you
you.
know.
Yeah, I love it. Love being part of the chamber. It's my favorite.
Oh yeah, it's so. I was a volunteer prior to moving back, and I was an ambassador, and it's just a great way to learn about your new community.
Yes.
So I would say that that was a great way for you to get emerged into the business community.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I own Fisher Creative Marketing and really work with organizations and businesses to help them make sense of their marketing. So folks who are struggling with marketing strategy, planning, just trying to figure out what marketing makes sense for their business. That's where I can step in and really help them figure that out, put together the pieces that they need for their specific business and that makes sense for them as they're trying to reach ideal clients and customers and really just grow.
Yeah, because especially when you're first starting out in a business, and maybe it was like this for you too, but like so many people are like, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do that, and then somewhere along the way, sometimes you kind of lose what your focus is, and so you're here to bring
Absolutely.
that back together.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of different marketing things that people can do, and not everything makes sense for every business.
Right.
And so sometimes folks just end up wasting a lot of time and money and energy on things that they don't really need to focus on. And so I like to help folks really focus on the things that make sense for their business and also just some really foundational pieces that are going to benefit really every business. So, making sure that you have a really solid message, that you have a really great website. It's kind of building that foundation, and then we can layer on the other things that work for you.
Right. I remember when you did the Smart Series presentation, and you were talking about always making sure there was a call to action. Yeah. But look at me.
Look at you. I know. I'm impressed.
Thanks. Me
Good job remembering that.
But that's always stands out. And so when I go on websites, I'm like, oh, like, is there a call to action? Like, what do I need to be doing? Because some websites are very hard to navigate.
Yes. They either have no call to action,
right,
or they have a whole bunch of things. And so then as a consumer, you're like, well, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And when we are confused and we aren't sure, we do nothing.
Right.
So you're losing customers. That's right.
Yeah. So what made you decide to get into this? Your business is how old?
It's 14 years. Yeah, it'll be 15 at the end of 2026. So that'll be a big milestone.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'm a little bit of an accidental entrepreneur. So my first career, I was a journalist. I was a newspaper reporter and editor.
And now I see it.
For several years. That's what I had wanted to do since I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old. Got a journalism degree, master's in mass communication, worked in newspapers. And then I'm sure a lot of folks in business might remember the end of 2008, the beginning of 2009. We had a little bit of a economic meltdown, if you will.
Right.
And the newspaper industry really suffered mightily during all of that. So I was laid off from a job and kind of trying to figure out, okay, what should I do? Obviously, not many newspapers were hiring people at that point.
Right.
So that's how I kind of shifted into doing marketing, public relations, social media marketing, because that was really new at that time. It's a brand new thing.
Yeah. Who knew what Facebook was like back then? I mean, like
totally, yeah. There was no Instagram, everything was new. Wild West.
You used to have the edu to be on Facebook, and like I didn't have it forever.
Yes.
Remember that? That's when it first started.
Yeah. So I kind of shifted into all of that. First, doing some freelance work.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Charleston, South Carolina at the time, and I
Mm-hmm.
worked for another company there. And then ultimately just decided to start my own business so
Yeah.
I could sort of do all the things that I
Yeah.
enjoyed doing.
Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
like pick from
Yeah.
what you had been doing, and
Hmm.
well, that's really neat. I mean, what are the type of businesses that you work with? Like, what kind of ranged? What does that look like?
Yeah, so typically I'm working with smaller businesses. Most of the time they've been in business for a few years. So
Mm-hmm.
usually 3 to 5 years. I find that folks are often at a point where maybe they've kind of done some things on their own
Mm.
for a few years, or they've just kind of gotten by on referrals or just sort of luck, word of
Mm-hmm.
mouth,
Right.
with their
Right.
marketing. And they're at a point where they're going, okay, I think we need to do something better, right? We need to look more professional. Our marketing kind of needs to match the work that we're doing, or they want to get more leads. And they're just kind of trying to figure out how to do that. And they're at a point where they're really ready to work with a professional
Mm-hmm.
and someone who has the experience and the expertise to help them figure that out so that they're not kind of, again, wasting more
Mm-hmm.
time
Right.
or money on things that don't work. So it's usually smaller businesses. I've worked with a number of nonprofit organizations, and actually work with people all over the country
Yeah.
because a lot of this work, of course, can be done virtually.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hmm.
So, since you kind of fell into this position,
Yeah.
looking back as the business has grown, like what are some of the like pain points or good, like what are some things that you've learned in
Hmm.
this 14 years to
How
kind
long do we have?
I know,
Right.
right?
Well, it's interesting because my business and like a lot of businesses has gone through a lot of iterations over the
Mm-hmm.
years. So when I started, I was in Charleston. Like I said, I was doing a lot of I did a lot of public relations because I had the journalism
Right.
background. So I did a lot of public relations, did a lot of, again, the social media marketing and
Mm-hmm.
content creation, and really just worked with businesses and nonprofits in Charleston. I
Mm.
did a lot of event marketing. Worked with a lot of nonprofit organizations and really just loved that work for a period of years. And then in early 2018, I got certified as a story brand guide.
Mm.
So, for folks that don't know what the story brand marketing framework is, it's essentially a way to talk about your business. It's based on storytelling principles.
Mm.
And so, it really helps you get super clear about the problem that you're solving for your customers and
Mm-hmm.
clients. And so, I got certified in that and was like, man, I really love this kind of work, kind of
Mm-hmm.
focusing in on the messaging, helping people write their websites, and it really opened up opportunities for me to work with people all over.
Right. That's helpful.
So I kind of went through another little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
change
Mm-hmm.
where I really kind of shifted to doing work with folks all over the country and even around the world, and doing more of the messaging, more strategy, more copywriting for websites and
Mm-hmm.
email campaigns,
Ah.
that sort of thing. And now I'm kind of at almost a little bit of another shift where I'm really hoping in the next several months to do more public speaking,
Mm.
more workshop facilitation.
Okay.
I love doing marketing and customer experience workshops with folks.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up.
So
We actually
I
did that with you as well.
Yes, and I love doing
Yeah.
that. That is really, if that's my favorite thing,
Mm-hmm.
is really helping businesses kind of spending some time getting clear on their messaging, doing marketing strategy sessions, helping folks with customer experience and hospitality. So that's kind of another shift that I'm taking is how can I do more of that kind of work?
Right. Was it level up? Leveling up?
It's called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Uh-huh.
That's the coaching
Yes.
certification that I have, and so that's really helping folks figure out how they can transform those
Mm-hmm.
customer experiences. Really help people. Yeah, really. How can we take this from
Mm-hmm.
just kind of customer service,
Mm-hmm.
right, to really leveling it up
Mm-hmm.
to a whole new hospitality?
Right. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think it's and just listening to that, how you have evolved. And I mean, I was just sitting here thinking about just how much we were referencing how Facebook started and you had to have an edu email.
Yeah.
I mean, social media changes so much. I mean,
Mhm.
like by the time you get on, for me anyway, by the time I get on trend with it,
That's
there's
right.
something new
Yeah.
that's happening. So, as you're helping, as you're running your own business and
Mhm.
helping other people run theirs, I
Yeah.
mean, you really have to kind of like stay up with what's.
I do. I
Mhm.
try to stay up on things as much as
Mhm.
possible. I also try to help people understand that they don't have to be in all those places
Right.
necessarily. I think that's sometimes the pressure that even I feel sometimes
Mhm.
having a business like, oh my gosh, I need to be on this platform and I need to be
Right.
here and I need to be doing this. And you need to figure out again, where's your audience?
Mhm.
I'm like, if your audience isn't on TikTok, then
Don't
you don't
waste your
need,
time.
don't spend your time on TikTok.
Yeah, because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of brain power to like think of all those things. And if your client or customer is not on TikTok, then that's time you can be spending somewhere else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If most of your folks are, on spend a lot of time watching YouTube or they're
Mhm.
on LinkedIn
Mhm.
or whatever, or they like to listen to podcasts,
Mhm.
right? Like put your effort and your energy there.
Right.
I would much rather see people do one or two platforms
Mhm.
really well
Mhm.
than try to do 10 things kind of,
Yeah.
haphazard.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're looking at like building your community, I mean, we kind of referenced it earlier, how you moved to Asheville and you got involved with
Hmm.
the chamber. Like what is that getting involved with the community? How does that help you grow your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did move from Charleston, where I had been for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
there, certainly been there for a long time. We relocated to Asheville, and I only knew a couple of people here.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, I'm going to join the chamber. That feels like a good way
Mm-hmm.
to maybe meet some people, just kind of learn the community. And that has been huge.
Mm-hmm.
That was really helpful and just learning the business community, making contacts, making connections, making friends.
Right.
I've gotten a lot of great
Professional and
friends.
personally.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
it was huge. And since then, I've certainly gotten involved with some other
Mm-hmm.
organizations as well. And I think just building those relationships. I mean, at the end of the day, people still want to do business with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, as much as we spend time on social media and we do things virtually and we talk about digital marketing and all of that, we want to work with people that we know, that we like, that we trust, that we've just established some relationships with.
Right.
And so being a part of different organizations like the chamber is great for just getting to know people and make those connections and really cementing yourself in their minds. In my case, when people think of marketing, messaging and strategy and um, workshops, I just want them to think of me.
Right.
Right. So the more time I can spend with folks
That's right.
talking about that, the more I'll come to mind
Mm-hmm.
when they need those services. So I think
Right.
it's huge to be involved in things like this.
Yeah, and the even though like I know we have our networking groups that meet regularly, and people are like, well, I always see the same people, but I'm like, yes, but those people could be
Mm-hmm.
talking about you when they're in another conversation with somebody at another
Mm-hmm.
event, and you come to mind. So, it's very important to
Yes.
establish those
Mm-hmm.
and relationships is really what it's all about. The
Yeah,
business is going to come later, but those people want to work with people that they trust and that they
absolutely.
connect with.
Yes. And there's something to be said for that, like repetition and staying
Mm-hmm.
top of mind with people
Right.
because sometimes people don't always need your services
Mm-hmm.
at that exact moment when you meet them.
Exactly.
But if you're staying in front of them, if you're keeping in touch, if you're building and fostering that
Mm-hmm.
relationship, then 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, you're the first person that comes to mind when
Right.
they are ready to hire you for something.
Right. So I know you said that you work with people all over. Do you find that you are able how do they reach you like if they're not here, like what does that look like, because you said like international, like, which
Yeah.
is amazing, that's so cool.
Yes.
Like how do they get in touch, or not get in touch with you,
Yeah.
but like how do they find
Find me.
you?
Yeah. A lot of people do find me because they are looking for somebody that is certified in the story brand framework.
Okay. Okay.
So I am part of a directory of other guides.
Nice.
And because I have had that certification for a number of years,
Mm-hmm.
people are sometimes looking for folks who have that certification and that knowledge and expertise in that. So that's how a lot of people will find
Mm-hmm.
me. And then again, it's just kind of the usual things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Referrals, sometimes from other clients
Sure.
and other businesses, or it's just being part of other groups, even if that's online, communities that you can be part of. So a variety of different ways that folks will track you down.
Do you see that you have people reaching out when they first start their business or after they've been doing it for a while? I'm just wondering, is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both, but honestly, it's more people that have been in business for a little bit. I think when folks are first starting out, most of the time they're sort of bootstrapping everything, right? So they're like, you know what, I'll just build this website myself, and they're just trying to save money. I mean, we all kind of do that when we're getting started. And so usually then it's folks that, okay, they're making some money. They're like, okay, now I can invest in marketing. They're starting to really see the value of that. And at that point too, in your business, you're kind of realizing like, hey, I can't do everything.
Right.
Nor should I.
Yeah.
Right. There are some things you're just not as good at.
Right.
And so you can outsource those. And lots of times marketing falls into that category. People are not necessarily experts in that. And so they're ready to outsource and hire somebody that can really help them.
Yeah, because they're focused on their business and what they're doing and what their expertise is.
Yes.
And so, sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to, put myself out there. And I'm like, well, you kind of do have to do that. But there's also great people like yourself that can also help you do that in a way so that you don't feel like you're doing it. You know what I mean? Because it does get overwhelming when you start rattling off all the things that you can do from a marketing standpoint. And sometimes it's hard for businesses to really understand the ROI of the marketing because it's hard to see sometimes. You know?
It can be. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes you can immediately make a change. Like you were talking about earlier, just fixing the call to action on your website, you might suddenly see a change. Some of it is longer term. Sometimes we have to go, all right, we're going to kind of commit to this. We're going to play the long game here, and we're going to focus on brand awareness, building relationships, establishing trust. And that can take some time, especially if you have a product or a service that is more complex, more expensive, right? Not something that people are just like real quick, I can spend $20 on that, and they don't really have to think about it. If we're talking about thousands of dollars potentially, people are going to need a little more hand-holding sometimes.
Right. Sure, yeah.
They want to get to know you a little bit more,
they want to know that what they're doing or getting involved in that's a lot of money to spend. So.
We talk about like the dating phase, right? We'll reference that a lot, marketing. It's like you don't just meet someone and then be like, hey, you want to get married, right? That feels creepy. So you have to establish a relationship. You have to date for a while, sometimes before then you say, hey, would you like to buy this thing from me? Would you like to get married?
Yeah. You got started. Did you have someone, I mean, I know it was kind of accidental, but did you have someone that you looked up to when you were getting involved in this? I mean, maybe it's the story brand, side of it, but is there somebody that that kind of fostered you into this?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that there's necessarily one person, but I think it's just sort of a community. And some of that has certainly been other like story brand certified guides. That's been a really great community. Other friends that I have in marketing. I've got a couple of really great friends in the Charleston community. They're also in marketing. So sometimes we'll collaborate on things or just talk about our business, right? Just having people to bounce ideas off of. I have some other folks that I do collaborate on projects with that if I need help with website design, graphic design, things like that, I'll bring them in. So just learning from other people and kind of having that community of other folks in the marketing space can be really helpful just to see how other people are doing things, right?
Well, I think that makes you a very smart business person too, because we're not all an expert in everything.
Correct.
And so they might be doing something that you can pull from, and I think that's what's so cool about Western North Carolina and our area as well is we're so collaborative.
Yes.
Like we might be connecting two yoga instructors together that might have, that they might end up working together, where in other communities that would be like, oh no, we do the same thing, we can't be in the same room, But there's ways to collaborate and by making those relationships. And I feel like we do a really good job.
I think Asheville is a really special community in that regard. People are just very willing to help. They want to get to know you. And I feel like I can always learn from someone, and I'm always willing to meet people because you never know. You never
Yeah.
know what you can learn from someone. You never know where that next client or that next referral is going to come from. So it's always worth having conversations with people because I feel like you're always going to pick up some
Yeah.
nugget of info or at least just meet somebody really interesting over a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, and we have plenty of that here.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
plenty of interesting people
Yes.
and coffee shops that you can go to.
I'm a fan. Yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, is there anything like a company that you worked with that like I don't know, a story that you want to tell or like a cool like transformation that happened with
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's a great question. Let's see. I think it's just really fun for me when I see people get really excited about the work that we do together. So sometimes it's really just finding the right words to talk about your business. And so lots of times folks will come to me and maybe they think they need to be doing email or maybe they think they need a new website. And they might need those things. But first we have to take this step back and go, how are you even talking about the business? And so when we can get some real clarity around that, I love those kind of like light bulb moments with clients when they're just kind of like, wow, I have been trying to figure out how to say this maybe for years. Yeah. And finally we're able to like just really simply explain what it is that you do and how you solve a problem for someone else.
Yeah.
And so that is really fun to be able to do that and create those messaging guides then that folks can refer back to time and time again or help them build a website that they're really excited about that's going to help them get more leads or more sales for their business. And just having when they're excited, that's just really great for me. Like I just love that. Yeah, it's really fulfilling.
Yeah, it is. And then, I mean, they're already, like we said, passionate about what they're doing. They just need a way to express that. And in the world that we live in, at least this is how I feel. You got to explain it kind of not quick, but you got to be able to you got to be able to like get to the point. And sometimes when people are super passionate about something, they'll like draw it out.
Oh, 100%.
And then we did this. And then,
100%.
And so to catch their attention quickly, and you kind of need somebody like you to say, hey, this is how we need to pare it down.
Exactly.
And
yes.
Get to the point.
Well, and having an outside person come in can be super helpful because you might be telling me something and I'm like, I don't understand at all what you're talking about. Because I'm not in it, right? I'm not in your business day to day. So you're rattling off something that makes total sense to you, but your potential clients or customers are like, what? Right? So we have to just really get it down to the basics, really make it super clear. What is that problem you're solving for folks? And so how can we kind of strip away everything to just really make people stop and go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Click the button to buy or whatever, right? Yes.
It makes me think about one of our annual, we do mega networking, twice a year. And a lot of times people are like, what? I only have 1 minute to pitch my business. But at the same time, it really makes you think,
it does.
I've got to hone down what I'm going to talk about. And I'm in a room with 104 people that are also doing the same thing. Yeah. And so you have to really get down to what that is. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, but then as it evolves through the hours that we're there, they're like, oh, that's not so bad. And now I know exactly what I'm going to say. Yeah. And so it's helpful.
Yeah, it can definitely be hard for some people who want to just like give this, 5-minute speech about what they do. Right. And at that point, most people are they've tuned out. Yeah, they're not listening.
Yeah, they're done. They're done. Well, that's so cool. I mean, I love that you're here to like help the small businesses and internationally, everywhere. But how is there anything else you'd like to share with us while we're on the podcast?
Yeah, I think just really letting folks know. Obviously, I'm here as a resource. And again, as the business evolves over these next several months into doing more of the workshops and strategy sessions, I just, if you have a business, a team, an organization that needs that, I'd love to be a resource.
Yeah, because you do like team building events, right?
Yeah, mostly focusing on marketing strategy, marketing messaging, planning, kind of helping folks just get focused. So that could be a team that needs to get aligned
I guess I was
around
thinking of the team
messaging.
because
Yeah.
you came and talked to our member services team.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have the really great unreasonable hospitality workshops, which are super fun, where I can go in and spend a day with folks really helping them figure out how they can elevate their customer service and really transform those customer experiences. Because we were talking about earlier, people want to do business with folks that they have a great relationship with.
Right.
And what better way to do that than to elevate your customer experience so that people are really excited about working with you? And that's just free marketing because then they're out and about talking about you.
It's the best kind. Yeah.
100%. Absolutely.
So for those type of workshops, do you just go in specifically to the businesses, or do you ever have like something on your calendar where you're doing like, an actual session?
Yeah, both. Okay. Yeah, so I can go into just an individual business, and then I've also hosted some of my own events where that could just be, open for, individual businesses to purchase a ticket and come to a workshop like that. So working on getting some more of those on the calendar.
Great.
Yes.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So tell everybody how they can find out more information about working with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fisher Creative Marketing is the best place to find me online at my website. You can book a call with me right directly on my website. That's the call to action. Schedule a call. It's all over the place.
Yes.
And then same thing, social media, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Fisher Creative Marketing, and all the places.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Holly, for being on with us today. We really appreciate it. It's a great business to have because you're needed, and sometimes people don't know that they need you, and when they realize they do, you have such an array of like business models and like so many different ways to help them from the website, and even if they just want to focus on one thing at a time, right?
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah, we don't have to tear everything up in one day. Like we can just start small.
Right.
And I've had a lot of clients do that. We'll start with messaging, and then we'll do a website, and then maybe we'll do some emails, and so we can definitely layer on.
I can see that being a little overwhelming for even a new or an established business, because like you're kind of like, oh, I need this, and then you feel like somebody is gonna make you do all of that,
right? And that's where I like to kind of take that step back first and go, let's just kind of figure out some messaging. Let's figure out a strategy. Let's understand who your target audience is, so that then we are doing the things that make sense for them. And we're not wasting time on stuff that they don't necessarily need. We can kind of come back and look at that and go, okay, actually, you really do need a new website because we've just changed up how we're talking about this. This is not fitting. We need to redo the website, or maybe they need something else. But let's figure that out first.
Yeah, I love that. And you're just such a lovely person to be able to have those conversations with and feel comfortable with doing that and making those decisions. So, and like you said, sometimes a third party is easier to get, especially if there's like, family working together, something like that. It can really come in handy. So.
Yes, I can be your outside perspective.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for being on with us today. Thank you for all you do with the Chamber, Ambassador. I know you're in our networking group, all of our events. Thank you so much for everything. The list can go on and on. So thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed today's episode, like, comment, and subscribe. To learn more about joining the Asheville Chamber, scan the QR code on your screen or visit ashevillechamber.org. Until next time!